These people lead nations, command crowds, and make headlines.
Great God.
But sometimes they trip, freeze, or just forget who's standing next to them.
Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
From awkward greetings to viral blunders, these presidential moments prove that even world leaders have their off days. While climbing up the stairs, Biden tripped, then tripped again, and again. But in true presidential style, he got up, gave a salute, and acted like it never happened. In 2016, during a live show, Jimmy Fallon reached out and ran his fingers through Donald Trump's iconic hair, right on camera. It was unexpected, awkward, and had everyone talking for days. At the G20 summit, Putin leaned in to make his point, but Merkel had already said it all with her eyes. She hit him with a perfectly timed eye roll that needed no words. Instant reaction, instant meme. In Warsaw, Trump reached out to shake Poland's First Lady's hand, but she breezed right past him and greeted Melania. His hand lingered in the air just a little too long. Awkward, meme-worthy, and instantly all over the internet. At the 80th D-Day anniversary, Biden walked up, paused, and almost sat down, but the chair wasn't there. It was a brief hover, a confused glance, and someone quietly guided him to the actual seat.
Commander-in-Chief was also caught on camera making a series of gaffes during the ceremony.
Joe Biden leaning in to sniff kids' hair? Yeah, that happened. It wasn't once either. Just one of those habits that had the internet cringing and turning it into a meme. Meanwhile, the rest of us can barely survive a group photo without doing the awkward hover hug. Trump's attempt at dancing to YMCA during his rallies became an internet clip. With stiff arms, slow steps, and a serious face, it wasn't exactly smooth. But it was so awkward, it somehow circled back to being kind of iconic. Joe Biden versus Jacket, round 1. As he got off Marine One, he had a full-on wrestling match with his coat. Just as he won, his shades fell off like the jacket had one last move. Jill stepped in to help. Twitter, meanwhile, declared the jacket the winner. At a major air show, Putin offered Erdogan an ice cream, then playfully asked, "You paying for mine too?" It was unexpected and weirdly wholesome. Modi reached out for a handshake with Angela Merkel during a diplomatic event, but she turned away right then. That awkward moment lived rent-free in the highlight reels for weeks. Trump joined the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge thanks to Vince McMahon, Mike Tyson, and Homer Simpson. The water hit, and he flinched and flailed like someone dumped a ghost on him instead of ice. While the world wore eclipse glasses in 2017, Trump squinted right at the sun, bare-eyed. A staffer even yelled, "Don't look," but he did anyway. Apparently, when you're president, solar warnings are just suggestions. Trump made a bold entrance, with toilet paper trailing from his shoe, as if it was part of the act. Nobody stopped him, so it followed him up the stairs, like a loyal, slightly embarrassing sidekick. Obama's armored car, the Beast, was built for anything except a sneaky speed bump. Outside the U.S. Embassy, it got stuck halfway. And for a few seconds, even the most powerful ride couldn't move. Inside the Oval Office, Elon Musk's 4-year-old son XE wasn't feeling the formality. As Trump and Musk spoke, X cut in and said, "I want to shush your mouth. You're not the president. You need to go."
This is from one year to the next. All the same.
Trump just pretended it never happened.
Is to restore.
Right after handing out diplomas at the Air Force Academy, Biden tripped and hit the ground. But within seconds, he was back on his feet, smiling and waving like it was no big deal, and presidential recovery was unlocked.
Wing, 10 shot. Mr. President, thank you for joining us today.
Kamala Harris leaned in to shake hands. But Bruce, Senator Deb Fisher's husband, wasn't having it. Eyes locked on his Bible, he subtly took a step back. Handshake denied, politely, but undeniably ghosted.
Thank you.
During the Quad Summit, Biden finished speaking, paused, and asked, "Who's next?" But instead, he was supposed to introduce Modi. An aide quickly stepped in, and Modi took the mic. That awkward pause, yep, it said everything.
Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
During a live speech, Biden asked, "Where's Jackie?"
And I want to thank all of you here for Senator Booker, Representative Jackie. Are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be.
Referring to a congresswoman who had passed weeks earlier. The crowd went silent. It was one of those moments that hung in the air and didn't quite land. At a NATO summit, Biden stood up to introduce Zelensky and called him President Putin.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
He caught it fast, but for a second, it looked like a plot twist no one asked for.
President Putin. You can beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President, I'm better. You are a hell of a...
At the 2016 White House Correspondents' Dinner, Obama didn't just deliver jokes. He wrapped it up with a mic drop. Literal, perfect, and smooth. The message was clear. President Cool had left the building. At a Security Council event, South Africa's President Ramaphosa found himself under attack from his own flag. A sudden gust sent it flapping straight into his face.
Of the Security Council of...
For a second, it looked less like patriotism and more like a sneak charge.
That was quick.
While on stage at a public event, Biden suddenly just froze. He stood still, mid-move, as the crowd waited in silence. Unsure if he zoned out or got lost in thought. It was one of those, is something supposed to happen? Kind of pauses. Angela Merkel was camera ready for the NATO group photo, but Berlusconi was still chatting on the phone like he had all the time in the world. She waited, unimpressed, and the whole scene felt more like high school prom than global diplomacy. Trump wrapped his arms around the American flag in a full-on bear hug. The crowd clapped. But online folks weren't sure if it was patriotic passion or just peak awkwardness wrapped in stars and stripes. At a public event, Biden referred to Kamala Harris as President Harris. Cue the headlines and late-night jokes. A simple slip of the tongue? Maybe. But critics jumped on it like it confirmed everything they've been saying.
Won't that be fun? I'm not being facetious. Well, President Harris led this effort.
After wrapping up his speech at the Global Fund Conference, Biden looked ready to leave, then paused and just stood there. He glanced around like someone had moved the exit. This turned into an unintentionally funny "which way do I go" moment. At a 2016 event, Obama's teleprompter froze mid-sentence, right before a well-aimed jab at Trump. He glanced up, smirked, and rolled with it. The joke was lost, but the charm stayed on cue.
If we, you know, a bunch of okey doke, just because
Mid-interview, live on SABC, the chair decided it had enough.
The opportunity for proper engagement, actually, after tabling of the...
South Africa's Finance Committee chairperson was in the middle of a serious chat when, boom, he vanished from the frame. No warning, no recovery, just one helpless fall that turned into an unforgettable broadcast blooper.
The opportunity for proper engagement, actually, after tabling of the...
Joe Biden had just wrapped up a speech on gun control when he ended with a completely random line. God save the Queen, man.
All right. God save the Queen, man.
Nobody saw it coming, not even Biden. Maybe. The people paused. Biden paused. Then came the slow shuffle off stage. Classic moment that went straight from puzzling to meme history.
All right. God save the Queen, man.
During a cultural celebration in Limpopo, South Africa's Deputy President Paul Mashatile collapsed mid-speech. The crowd was tense, and aides rushed in. For a moment, everything stopped. He later recovered, but that sudden, shocking moment on stage became one of the most talked about live broadcast scares.
And reducing inequality by 2030.
Trying to joke about his less-than-great bowling game, Obama compared his score to the Special Olympics.
I bowled a 129.
He knew it was wrong the second it left his mouth. The apology was quick and sincere, but that slip-up went down as one of his most uncomfortable moments behind a mic.
Oh, no, that's very good. Yeah. No, that's very good, Mr. President.
This is like Special Olympics or something.
No, that's very good.
No, listen, I'm making progress on the bowling.
During a rally, Donald Trump tried to reference 9/11, but called it 7/11 instead. For a second, it sounded like he was honoring first responders and grabbing snacks. It was one of those moments where your brain hits rewind, but the mic doesn't.
I watch our police and our firemen down on 7/11, down at the World Trade Center right after it came down. And I saw the greatest people I've ever seen in action.
Biden started strong. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills.
And then that word turned into a Himalayan backstory with Xi Jinping and some wild mileage numbers. Whatever he meant to say, GPS couldn't find it either.
Himalayas with Xi Jinping, traveling with him. And that's when we traveled 17,000 miles when I was vice president. I don't know that for a fact.
Back in 1990, Trump cut short a CNN interview with Charles Feldman, yanked off his mic, and walked out mid-question. No warning, no smile, just unplug and go. Years later, he repeated the act on 60 Minutes. Walking out, apparently it runs on schedule.
I think we have enough of an interview here, Hope. Okay, that's enough. Let's go meet for 2 seconds, okay? Thanks. I'll see you in a little while. Thanks.
Be careful.
As Obama boarded Marine One, he walked right past the Marine at attention, then stopped mid-step, turned around, and gave a quick salute. Smooth recovery, but the cameras caught it all. Just another, oops, forgot I'm being watched 24/7 kind of day in the life of a president. At Justice Sandra Day O'Connor's memorial, a member of the Honor Guard fainted, right beside her casket. It was a heavy moment that unexpectedly turned human. The kind of thing that reminds you, no matter the ceremony, the camera, or the crowd, bodies have their own plans. President Macron had his own ouch moment right on arrival in Vietnam. After a playful back and forth, his wife Brigitte gave him a gentle smack to the face. Couple banter? Maybe. But with cameras rolling, it turned into an instant internet moment. During a village visit in southeast France, Macron reached out to greet the crowd, but one man greeted him back with a slap. Security jumped in instantly, but the footage had already made its way around the world. Fidel Castro was wrapping up a big speech in 2004 when a small step turned into a big fall. He hit the ground hard, but later appeared on TV, casually brushing it off like all good, still standing. At the 2006 summit, George W. Bush snuck up behind Merkel and gave her a surprise shoulder rub. Her reaction was startled and stiff because she was not ready for this sudden gesture. At a press event, a protester threw both shoes straight at President Bush. But he didn't flinch, just ducked fast like he was ready for a quick game of dodgeball.
But let me talk about the guy throwing the shoe. It is one way to gain attention.
At a formal event, Trump reached out for a friendly hand tap from Pope Francis, probably hoping for a little holy approval. But the Pope wasn't feeling it. He swatted that hand away without hesitation. The internet couldn't help but ask, was that shade or just reflex? Just after a speech in Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe took a misstep and fell down the stairs. His team helped him up fast, but then made photographers delete the photos like it never happened. Great speech, rough landing. During a COVID briefing, South Africa's president tried to put on his mask, but it had other plans. The strap slipped, the mask twisted, and suddenly, the whole thing turned into a comedy clip. Even world leaders have off days. Even presidents have those oops days. At the SCO summit, Shehbaz Sharif tried to adjust his earpiece while preparing to talk to Putin. But it twisted, slipped, flipped around, and in the end, he just gave up. Putin smirked, and honestly, everyone watching probably did too.
Уважаемый господин премьер-министр, идет перевод, все нормально?
Mid-speech, North Korea's leader paused as a tooth dropped straight onto the podium. He kept talking like nothing happened, but every camera caught it, and the people definitely noticed. In 1975, President Ford had one of the most replayed stumbles in history, falling down the plane steps. No major after effects, but the moment quickly made headlines. Turns out, presidential slips really don't go unnoticed. At the end of a speech, Biden reached out for a handshake, but no one was there. His hand just hovered midair, like he was greeting a ghost. Was it magic, muscle memory, or just a classic Biden moment? Macron shook hands. It didn't end. It escalated. 17 seconds of intense gripping, smiles, and white knuckles. Macron later called it a moment of truth. Honestly, it felt more like an arm wrestling match in suits. At a police memorial, Boris Johnson's umbrella turned on him. The wind flipped it, bent it, and for a moment, it looked like he was wrestling a stubborn octopus. The event was serious, but that umbrella drama stole the show. Just days into her role as Prime Minister, Theresa May confidently walked to a car, only to realize it wasn't hers. Quick pivot, smooth recovery, but yeah, Even heads of state mix up their rides sometimes. In 1992, President George H.W. Bush visited a grocery store and saw a barcode scanner in action. His face lit up with surprise. The media had a field day, calling it a sign he was out of touch. One beep, and boom, headline moment.
That famous campaign stop where Bush Sr. was discovering, if you will, the wonders of the supermarket scanner. He'd never seen one.
At a NATO event, Trump didn't wait around. He gave Montenegro's prime minister a light nudge and stepped right to the front. It was quick, it was bold, and every camera caught it. Diplomacy? Maybe. A meme-worthy power move? Definitely. In Nairobi, Theresa May got pulled into a scout dance. Again. With a big smile and her signature stiff groove, she turned a UN talk into a surprise dance break. Awkward? Yes. But also kind of charming in its own way. At a White House event, George W. Bush jumped in with a West African dance group with all heart. His moves were stiff, but his grin was huge. It was awkward, hilarious, and honestly kind of sweet. During a school visit, Vice President Dan Quayle added an extra E to the word potato. A tiny spelling slip, but it turned into a joke that followed him for years.
Potato, how's it? You're right phonetically. Well, there you go.
While standing beside Macron at the White House, Trump casually reached over and flicked dandruff off his shoulder.
We do have a very special relationship. In fact, I'll get that little piece of dandruff off. That little piece. We have to make him perfect. He is perfect.
Macron froze mid-photo op. It felt less like diplomacy and more like a dad fixing your tux before prom. After a press conference in China, President Bush walked straight into a locked door. With a quick laugh and a sheepish grin, he turned back to the cameras. It was one of those presidents, they're just like us moments.
Trying to escape.
During a formal dinner in Japan, President George H.W. Bush suddenly collapsed into the lap of Prime Minister Miyazawa. Medical teams rushed in, but the cameras didn't stop. It was shocking and broadcast around the world. Boris Yeltsin's campaign dance looked more like a wedding uncle's solo than a presidential performance. Wild spins, floppy limbs, and a big grin to match. This dance was hilarious, energetic, and definitely not rehearsed. During a solemn memorial in Dallas, George W. Bush started swaying to the music, smiling, grooving, and holding hands. Michelle Obama's face said it all. Confused, surprised, maybe slightly horrified. Let's just say, the vibe shift was real. Michelle's "Are you kidding me" face said it all. Some moments just can't be unseen. Trump, during a hurricane recovery talk in Florida, gave Melania a sweet shout-out, saying she really wanted to be with us. Sweet, except she was literally right there beside him. Talk about being present but invisible.
Melania really wanted to be with us. It's really touched her heart what's gone on, and we've seen the depth.
Trump's hair met its match when a cheeky gust of wind exposed its secrets to the world. No comb, no spray, no backup plan. Just nature saying, let me show you something real quick. At a Black History Month event, David J. Harris Jr. leaned in for a warm hug. Trump, meanwhile, stuck to the handshake script. The result was a handshake-hug hybrid that confused everyone, including them. Joe Biden's grand entrance at the Brazil summit hit a speed bump. Literally, he tripped over the giant Brazilian flag and skipped Lula's handshake like it was optional.
President Biden, can you hear me? You can? Yes, good.
What started as a normal COVID press briefing in Denmark took a terrifying turn. Right in the middle of speaking, the Medicines Agency chief collapsed. The room froze. Cameras kept rolling, and the clip instantly circled the globe. Macron reached for a classic handshake. Erdogan turned it into a full-blown finger hostage situation. He held on like it was the last slice of baklava. Macron tried to bail. Erdogan said nope. Back in '96, Boris Yeltsin took a detour from politics straight onto a wooden swing. At a folk museum, he casually went full playground mode, pumping back and forth like recess had just started. Yes, this really happened. Brigitte Macron gave us a blink and you will miss it power move. Stepping off a plane, she casually waved off Emmanuel's hand like, "I got this." It wasn't dramatic, but it definitely spoke volumes. In the middle of a serious Lewinsky inquiry, Bill Clinton got stuck on the word is.
Depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Instead of answering, he dove into a grammar loop that left everyone confused and chuckling. He didn't dodge the question. He rewrote it.
Depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
George W. Bush had a way of saying things his way, like turning nuclear into nuclear every single time.
It's nuclear arsenal.
Was it on purpose? Was it just him? No one ever figured it out, but it always made the headlines, leaving everyone stuck somewhere between a facepalm and a chuckle.
Nuclear arsenal.
Nuclear arsenal.
Jacob Zuma took the mic to inspire the nation, but the word beginning refused to cooperate.
In the beginning.
He tried once, twice, then again. Each attempt just made it worse.
In the beginning.
The audience held their breath, then broke into nervous laughter. It was supposed to be a powerful speech, but that opener stole the show.
In the beginning. In the beginning.
In a 2019 White House meeting, Trump casually thanked Tim Apple for his contributions.
We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
Yep. He mashed Apple CEO Tim Cook's name with the company. The internet did its thing. Memes came, and Tim Cook, he joined in, quietly switching his Twitter name to Tim. Trump later claimed it was all on purpose to save time. Before the presidency, Bill Clinton hit the Arsenio Hall show with a saxophone and shades, like he was headlining a jazz bar. He jammed like a pro. Even if the moves were a bit presidentially stiff, still, it was a whole vibe and gave the world its first taste of Clinton's cool factor. An off-camera clip surfaced showing Bill Clinton sitting eerily still, like a paused video or malfunctioning animatronic. Eyes blank, body frozen, not a twitch. It wasn't supposed to go public, but once it did, people couldn't unsee it. Creepy, weird, and definitely not the kind of presidential moment you'd expect to trend. At the WWI Armistice event, the King of Morocco nodded off beside Melania, while Trump sat on the other side. Trump glanced over, long, confused, and clearly not amused. Cameras caught it all. The contrast was gold, one royal snoozing, one president judging.
Les morts des autres nations que jadis elle a combattu.
Trump glares while the king naps. That's a damn good metaphor as we keep watch over Europe.
At a football ceremony, Uganda's retired General Moses Ali decided to show he still had some moves left. He stepped up to kick off the match, took one confident stride, and instantly hit the ground. His guards rushed in, but the crowd had already witnessed the day's first unexpected fall, and it wasn't the ball. Boris Johnson on a zipline was supposed to be a fun Olympic promo. Instead, it turned into a full-on aerial timeout.
This game was very, very well organized.
dangling midair, waving British flags, and waiting like someone forgot the landing instructions. He gave the world a new way to hang awkwardly.
It's going well. It's very, very well organized. What they do, get me a ladder.
Right before the G7 summit began, Macron whispered something to Georgia Maloney. Her face instantly turned into a live reaction meme. Raised brows, frozen smile, and that "did he really say that?" stare. Whatever the message was, the internet had already finished the conversation. Trump's handshake with Japan's prime minister wasn't just a greeting, it was an endurance test. 19 seconds of gripping, nodding, and possibly a silent struggle. By the end, it felt less like diplomacy and more like an unspoken arm wrestling match.
What is this?
During Hillary Clinton's big moment at the 2016 DNC, Bill Clinton was right there, eyes suspiciously shut. Sitting next to Tim Kaine, he seemed to drift off just enough for cameras to catch it. A serious speech turned into a snooze meme, and the internet tucked him in.
It won't be easy or quick, but make no mistake, we will prevail.
Nixon tried to clear the air with one line during Watergate: "I am not a crook." Instead, it echoed across decades like the world's most awkward ringtone. A moment meant for clarity ended up on history's blooper reel.
In my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
At a major event, China's President Xi almost slipped off the stage, but his security team caught him just in time. Even Putin looked stunned. Xi turned around mid-wobble like he was trying to play it cool, but the clip said it all. One step closer, and we'd have had a viral presidential stumble. In 1968, Richard Nixon popped up on the comedy show Laugh-In and dropped the line, "Sock it to me," in the most Nixon-y way possible.
And I think this is the time and this is the place to take off the gloves and sock it to them.
It was stiff, it was weird, but also kind of brilliant. A presidential attempt at pop culture that felt more like your grandpa trying to use slang. He just learned that morning. In the middle of a serious town hall in 1992, George H.W. Bush glanced at his watch like he was late for lunch. That tiny flick of the wrist, it instantly turned into a political blooper, making him look miles away from the room, even though he was standing right there.
Yes, how has the national debt personally affected each of your lives?
At a NATO summit, Trudeau and his crew got caught on a hot mic laughing about Trump, like teenagers gossiping behind the principal's back. What was supposed to be a formal meeting turned into a real-life political version of Mean Girls. Global stage, high school vibes. Forget words. Soviet leader Khrushchev let his shoe do the talking. In the middle of a heated UN session, he slammed it on the desk like a frustrated parent at a PTA meeting. The cameras didn't stop. It's still one of the strangest protests ever caught on tape. Everything was hyped, flags waving, music blaring, until several Nigerian PDP leaders stepped just a little too far forward and crashed. They vanished from view like a magic trick gone wrong. The crowd gasped. Then I laughed. The rally kept going, but the stage definitely stole the show.
And I don't agree on everything.
Sarah Palin's accidental claim that you could see Russia from Alaska turned into one of those quotes that never really leaves.
I can see Russia from my house.
Real or not, it snowballed into parodies, memes, and endless punchlines. It was not a political moment, but absolutely a pop culture moment.